3. We're live, Mr. Wade.
Good night. Good night once again to our listening public, viewing public, both at home and abroad. It's always a pleasure to sit here in the company of Mr. Leonard Brackett, and we should be joined by Mr. Morrison, Gregory Morrison, and he's supposed to be our guest tonight, and also Mr. Gregory Brackett. He should maybe in the back there queuing up. So it's a pleasant good night to one and all. And I would say welcome to our Belizean Affairs show number 293.
Sir.
293. And I hope that, you know, we have been, you know, giving some good information to our people. I hope that whatever we had been addressing through this medium, that it is some beneficiary to the listening public and the viewing public who view us. And we always says that we are about people and we are about our nation. Um, we are not being paid to do what we do. We do it because we are true patriot of Belize. And again, we are not pastors, or this is not a church show, but we here on this program realize that, and we know that there is a God, and that's the God that we serve. So, on during our program, starting our program, we always give thanks and praise to the Almighty. So, on that note, I will go as usual and ask Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in a prayer. Sir?
Yes, sir. Just a second, Mr. Chairman. I just want to put this stuff on live, and then I'll go back and fix it when I get a chance.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
one more. Okay, take it off of lock, put it on public, and that's it. Okay, for right now. Uh, Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for the privilege to participate on your program tonight. And thanks also for giving me the opportunity to say the prayer for you. I'd
Thank
just
you,
like to
sir.
bow my head, sir, and go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth, and all that in them are, thou who art our creator as well, we come before thy presence, asking that thou would be merciful unto us, that thou would grant us health, courage, strength, perseverance, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that thou would give us a sense of commitment and patriotism to be able to address issues and matters that are of national concern in our country, to our people and country, as well as those who are abroad. We pray that thou mayest continue to bless our family members, friends, and loved ones, each and every one of them. Thou knowest them by name and number. Thou knowest our needs. Please have mercy upon those people who also are in war zones and who are in tornadoes and earthquakes and volcanoes, and as well as hurricanes and other disasters going forward. Please be merciful unto them. For those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, please provide for us these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Leonard, for that warm prayer.
So welcome, sir.
The country
Okay.
needs it. The world needs it. We are living in some very peculiar times. Uh, as for me, I see it as the sign of the end time is coming. So all of the ills that is happening in our country and around the world, we are witnessing it, we're seeing it, and we are all living it, good or bad. On that note, I want to do a reading from Isaiah chapter 61, 1 to 10. And it reads again from Isaiah chapter 61, 1 to 10. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to build up the brokenhearted, proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, on the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourns, to give to those who mourn in Zion, to give them a beautiful headdress instead of ash, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the garments of praise instead of a faint spirit, that they may be called oak of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. They shall build up the ancient ruins, they shall raise up the former devastations, they shall repair the ruined city, the devastation of many generations. Strangers shall stand and tend your flocks. Foreigners shall be your plowmen and vine dressers. But you shall be called the priests of the Lord. They shall speak of you as the ministers of God, our God. You shall eat the wealth of the nation, and in their glory you shall boast. Instead of your shame, there shall be a double portion. Instead of dishonor, they shall rejoice in their lot. Therefore, in their land they shall possess a double portion. They shall have everlasting joy. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrong. I will faithfully give them their recompense. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Their offspring shall be known among the nations, and their descendants in the midst of the people. All who see them shall acknowledge them, that they are an offspring the Lord has blessed. I will gently rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall exult in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself, like a priest who beautiful headdress with a beautiful headdress and a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth brings forth its sprouts, and as a garden causes what is sown in it to sprout up, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to sprout up before all the nations.
Amen.
That's my reading from Isaiah 61 1 to 10. Uh, my people, there's a lot going on in our country. As always, it's so shocking to a lot of us, but a lot of us like it's like the norm. It's like the way of life, the way things are happening, and the things that our leaders does. Um, it's not like shocking to a lot of us, but to some of us, it is shocking for the things that is happening in our jewel, and I could see around the world. And on that note, we always, you know, s- reflect back and a little public announcement, as to what's going on and how we see things, and give a little perspective and a little sober reminder of what people are subdued to, what the people are going through, what is happening. Some of us know, some of us may not know, some of us know and turn a blind eye, on a deaf ear, but some of us are very mindful and we talk about it. So I asked Mr. Brackett to Leonard to give us a little, public scrutiny and announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Leonard Brackett, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to interact on our 293 program with our chairman for tonight, Mr. Roody. And I'm concerned about the way our people are driving. I mean, it's just like they're driving with a reckless abandon. That they don't care about their own well-being and safety, and the well-being and safety of their family members, friends, or even strangers. You know, they forget to remember that they're driving a machine with hundreds of different parts, any one of which can break down at any given time and cause a catastrophic failure. Or when they try to overtake other vehicle and they try to push the accelerator to pick up more speed, you know, they can't get the extra speed and they are side by side with another vehicle and something is coming towards them. They forget to remember that we only have 2 lanes on our highways. And then in one other particular instance that I saw recently is that the person used a small truck to push another smaller vehicle off the road because a bigger vehicle was coming at him while he was trying to overtake. All he had to do was back off a little bit and wait for another opportunity. Instead, he ended up making people die unnecessarily. And then they were trying to run away. After they caused the accident and caused people to die, they're trying to run away. That's unconscionable. And every time we do our program, we keep, trying to ask the public to please be more sensible, please be more sensitized to the reality that you're playing with your lives and other people's lives at the same time. But apparently, our reach is not such that enough people are hearing our advice or caution or plea. So we may not be as effective as we would like to be. But nevertheless, people shouldn't have to be told or asked or begged to do the right thing. I mean, we're all grown up people, individuals, and we should be able to do the right thing on behalf of ourselves, if not on behalf of nobody else. So, Mr. Chairman, I yield back, sir, and I just pray that God would
Thank you.
guide these people and give them safe traveling when they're on the road.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for reality check, Leonard. That's reality check, And before I get into the program, based on that, Leonard, the all you talk about the traffic accidents, right? That keeps happening, fatalities, and I ask that who has the will to do the right thing, in terms of our highways. We see over the years, Leonard, we see the amount of millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
spent repetitiously, sometimes on the same area, same portion of highway, same portions, newly built ones,
Mm-hmm.
around this country, and the amount of millions, billions of dollars over the past 30 years, right? We'll say by now the amount of money put into Belize is a big place. Do we have so many thousands of miles of road? Hell
No,
no, we don't. But look at the budgets every time, the amount of money spent, and sadly, when it's all finished, they come with the pretty thing, yeah, just for the world and the people to say, well, like, we did right by with the money, and we did a good thing with the money, and Belize got a bang for their bucks, right? For the money, right? And all the avenues that they went through to get this money, well spent, all the tendering and all who gets what and who gets this and who gets that and what they did with it and the time phase they take to spend so much money. And you listen to these guys. I'm not talking nothing out there. Just listen as for the last budget. The pretty picture the man, Mr. Julius Spot from Cayo South, painted all the babies he had to get this money, and what a good job that was done to every time, right? And they know damn well that they don't follow the protocols, they don't follow the right procedures, they never do anything right. It's all about corruption, rewarding this one, giving this one a little, and just to quantumize the money, right? And at the end of the day, what does the Belizean public left with? We ride on it every day. That's what we left with, right? And there they go again. It seems like in past government and this two-party system, where the money is infrastructure, building roads and bridges and building roundabouts and building roads. That's where the money is for, you know, 15, 20 years now, 30 years now. Mr. Julius Espat and Mr. Prime Minister, the Crown Agent had built from in the 60s, some excellent road. And that's the road that the Belizean people got their bang for their money, got what it was worth, and they did a very good job up to today. All you guys are doing is patching up these very same road that are 50 and 60 years old, right?
mm-hmm.
That's what you all are doing, spending billions and calling and telling the world and the people that you are building roads. So it needs so much millions per mile. Why, it's so sad. It's so sad that No one hold these people accountable and hold them in check. You build 1 mile of road for 8 million or 12 million, show me. Give me a guarantee, a warranty. How long does this road is going to last for so much money? We see how long they last. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. What a damn shame. Look at the highway, coastal road highway. Look at that. Those who traverse it knows what I'm talking about, but those who do not traverse it will say I'm talking crap. So, but anyway, wanted to talk about a little bit about what touch a little bit on that budget. So the it's for me it was all about numbers, right? We talk a little bit about that, what we hear from their very mouth, and I could say how I feel about it because it's my tax dollars. Who dare tell me that I cannot say how I feel about it, right? We'll talk about village councils elections coming up because publicly we are seeing interference once they are running independent. They find all kinds of things to stick a little pin in the air to discredit these people. Once they are not running under the People's United Party name and that blue banner, you're in a lot of trouble. That is what's going on right now. And the UDP, when they're in power, they do the same crap, right? So you have these independent thinkers, independent thinking minds in these villages who decide to put their name up because they're either tired of a UDP way of handling their villages or they're tired of the way the PUP. So they have all that right. Who, how dare the man from down south will tell these people that they pretty much they don't have that right, right? So I applaud and I call more on independent thinkers who see the carnage of a PUP government, who see the carnage of a UDP government whenever a village council come along, election come along, we see how they go into this villages, if it's the UDP in power, we see what they do. They turn the next neighbor against the next neighbor and vice versa. And it's a habitual practice because I have lived through it, been through it, seen it. Same thing with the PUP, right? That's the way they operate. They even go and take away people lots in these villages and give it to once you show contrary to their beliefs, right? They take away whatever you get. They they try, and some of them they forcefully take whatever possession these people has, right? So and give it to other people, right? So you know, and so sad that you see where their priority right now. It's all about winning election. It's not about going up in the house and say, well, like, you know what? Let us get. There's something on there,
Yes, sir.
Leonard. I'm having a feedback.
I'm sorry about that, sir.
Yeah,
I just
yeah. So they would never stand up in the house and say, well, like, yeah, we this is what we are going to do for the poor and less fortunate. This is the future that we are going to bring into this country, right? This is the jobs that we are going to create for the people. This is the hospital that we are going to build for the people. This is the electrification that we are going to give to this country, right? This is the way that we are going to treat and educate our people. No, They never stand in the house and be real and be truthful and do the right thing. They take ownership of BPOs, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the amount of jobs in this country. I want Brisena to show me which job he had created, his his government, and pass. But I say, let's we're talking about now, right? We're talking about now. What they do, they hang on to the BPOs. Should they even give them all kinds of special treatment? These companies, right? In fact, that try to disregard the employees and ride along the establishment, right? Try to penalize employees at these BPOs to ride against the establishment, ride with the establishment, right? Giving them preferential treatment. They are not government producing jobs, right? But that's a scenario that they had painted out there. I listened to the budget, a little bit, and I turned it off because it's all about numbers. Number, numbers that they inflate, right? And in reality, nothing is in it for the Belizean people, for the poor people. Nothing. It's all about rewarding. It's all about getting that money so that they could disseminate it to to where they want it to go, but not to where it deserving, right? They they talk about hospital again, billing so much money to build a hospital in Belmopan, right? So I asked where is the $91 million that you had gotten already? Where is that money? Right? That's to build that same hospital that you talked about in the house. Where is the money? Where show me and tell me what you did with the money from the Bolido,
Yeah, you could
right?
log in when you're ready, or no? When you get the
Show
thing, right?
show me what
I sent it to your right here on Messenger.
don't don't only
You
say
know?
the amount of money that
Huh?
generated from the Bolido. Tell us where you put it.
Okay.
Show us.
Okay, sir.
But you talk about the millions that was generated from the Bolido, right? And to compound it, the man Cordell Hyde not too long ago, a year ago, to stand up in the house and say with the PUP and the government has a lot of money from the Bolido. Lots of money. We'll never run out of money because the Bolido is pumping in money, right? But yet there's shortage of medication in the hospitals, right? Yet there's shortage of equipments in the hospital. Yet there's shortage of money to pay the retirees, pay the teachers, pay the public servants, give them a raise, buy them good equipment. But yet these fools will stand up in there. There's lots of money, and you have your people suffering. Huh? If you have lots of money, so be careful what you say, right? Now you see they say these things and nobody question them, nobody at all, right? And when you do, they try to shut you up, right? But you hear all the good things, right? That is happening, and yet our people, is suffering, right? You hear them talking about easing the burden at the fuel pump. You hear them talking about easing the burden of the poor people who goes and buy ramen at the Chinese groceries. They don't talk about that. Come on. So as for me, that whole budget presentation was just about inflating numbers and trying to last the Belizean public in numbers. The same thing with Dean Barrow. He lost the Belizean people with words, highfalutin words. You gotta, when he attack, you gotta have a dictionary there to dissect the words that that man says. That's the fool that the stupid things that they do, right? The ills that they do to a nation, right? This one here, like I say, you know, he lost in the Belizean people with numbers. Yes. He not got highfalutin words like Dean Barrow, but he producing statistics and numbers and inflating, right? Numbers where numbers shouldn't be. But nobody question and dissect these numbers and these things that he's talking about with a fine-tooth comb. Nobody does that, right? So he gets away. But you know, like I say, you know, we want to talk about the, you know, what's happening right now in the country in terms of the village council elections and the interference. And then we want to talk about, you know, what we know and what we hear and what we could talk about the budget, right? So I'll I'll pass it over to Leonard, see what you know he has to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I want to comment on is the budget. And the first thing I want to say about the budget that was read or referred to, because it wasn't a full budget hearing per se, all the numbers weren't spoken to. But I want to say this for right here and now. And I'll probably come back at some future date and remind you what I had said today. That is that the budget we had read to us, they will need to come and ask for supplemental, not once or twice or thrice, not 4, 5, or 6 times, but they'll come at least a dozen times or in a dozen different instances where they will need to get supplementary budgets in order to make this current budget that was read work. Why? The numbers don't add up. What they promised they were going to do in the past administration, they didn't accomplish. And what they're promising to do right now, they will not accomplish unless they can come up with some extra money, either through supplemental budgets, loans, grants, or just raising more taxes, you know. But the people from whom they're supposed to get the taxes, they're not trying to collect. They're giving those people a pass. Because those people are the ones that give them little money on the side when election time or when they have any special occasions. So they don't prefer to collect the money into our consolidated funds to pay for our governance, pay the teachers, and pay everybody else. They pay themselves first. And if anything is left over, they misapply it or misappropriate it, and then come up with excuses why they can't give the teachers their increments, give them back their 10% salary raise, and pay them on time. It's not only the teachers, by the way, there are other civil servants who are having problems with collecting their paychecks. There are retirees who are having problems collecting their paychecks or their retirement gratuity. And while all these people are having problems collecting their part of the budget money and have to subsist in a marginal way, you have the CEOs then getting additional benefits and increase in salary. In fact, the way we describe that is to say that they gave it to themselves. Okay? A few people in the Ministry of Finance get together and concoct how they should get additional salary increase to match the salary of Mr. Chester Williams. Because had they not taken the extra increase, they would have been getting less salary than what Mr. Chester Williams would have been getting for his new assignment. Why? They had to pay him something comparable to what he was getting as the commissioner. So when these other CEOs saw that Mr. Chester was going to be a CEO like themselves, and a junior CEO, by the way, because they are senior CEOs, they've been around the block a few times, they got jealous. And they figure, well, if Mr. Chester and get all the extra money, what about us? So the proposal was taken to the Prime Minister to make sure that those additional CEOs and the more senior CEOs, they get their extra increments and extra pay. At the time, they weren't complaining about not having enough money for to pay the teachers. They should have taken that extra money that they gave to the CEOs and spread it around to the teachers. Because they owe the teachers 10% of their salary from the first from 2020, and have still not settled back or given those people their money. And as the weeks and the months and the years they go by, they keep owing them more and more, and they're giving them less and less. Why? The teachers can't go and take the money out of the consolidated funds themselves. They can't go to the treasury and withdraw the money that is due to them. And the government is already complaining that the teachers aren't doing a good enough job, which is why they were getting that extra money to help the education department. Mr. Briceño made an agreement with Mr. Ashcroft to give Mr. Ashcroft twice as much money as Mr. Ashcroft was getting from the port. He was getting like between $12 and $13 million a year. He offered him $25 million a year as part of the settling of all accounts. You guys remember that? When he came to the house with that proposal? So for the next 5 years, he's going to be giving Mr. Ashcroft $25 million. Does anybody have any idea what $25 million could have done for the teachers? At least he could have raised their salary. They're asking for 8% right now, and the government is complaining, saying that that's going to cost too much, some $40 million. If they didn't give Mr. Ashcroft $25 million every year addition, they could have had that money, but they misappropriate and misspend the money. That's why they don't have it, because they keep increasing taxes on gas. They keep collecting additional fees from customs and other places. They keep collecting the GST. By the way, they're not collecting all of it because they accept what the grocery people are telling them, that they are not stealing from the public. So that's how they operate. Now they're complaining that they don't have the money, and people are going through hard times and need the money, and they can't come up with the money. Then take $7 million and buy that piece of dirty land in a hurry because the election was coming up. You don't hear them mention anything about that piece of land right now, or about the hospital, or any kind of activities going on in terms of successfully achieving that objective of building that public hospital, which should have been done as a teaching institution for the University of Belize. And very likely it's not going to be built at that same location. Somebody else going to end up with that piece of land, and the government will turn around and go back and take the better piece of land that the UB had already set aside for them. But the $7 million is gone. So that's 25 and 7 is so much? 32, right? That would have been just about close enough for what the teachers are asking for. Or they could have made a bargain with the teachers and say, well, we can't give you the $40 million, but we could give you 37 or 35. That's part of negotiation, right? The teachers then start negotiating at a high point, and then they beat them down to another point lower. But at least they would have had the cash flow to afford paying for our government, when in fact we don't have it right now. So they come and they read us a bogus budget with a lot of platitudes and a lot of promises, and then we'll still have to come back again to ask for consolidate. I mean uh for extra money out of the consolidated funds, okay, in order to plug the budget. Or they will come back and ask for permission to go and borrow extra money. So they could have read the budget from the 1st of April just the same way. No, they want to do what they want to do when they want to. And if nobody likes it, well, to hell with them. Anyway, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
These are things that we see. You know, we see that outright misappropriation. Outright not being truthful to the Belizean people, right? I notice my people, that to every time there's a budget from the time of memorial, they're asking for money for the same thing over and over and over again, right? Just take for instance, you know, we have heard about loans, grants lately given in the name of, remember all these blackouts, in the name of getting this money to rectify this problem. Like 3 years ago, when we had in the rolling blackouts, we had gotten money to rectify this problem, right? And here we go again, getting more money for that same problem that was supposed to have been rectified. That's, you see, I am not the brightest mind. But I have common sense. I have common sense. I am one of those who he said that doesn't have talent. I am one of those. I don't have talent, but I have common sense, Mr. Man, to know how, you're bamboozling the public, man. You know? And if I ask you, Mr. Man, to give to the nation, to the Belizean people, an itemized list of what you did with all those money, that what I'm talking about, in the name of fixing the grid, fixing, giving the country the balance of kilowatts that it had needed, so we don't have no more blackout. You got that money, Mr. Man. I tried to go as 2 cents as I could go, so the poor Belizean who no got talent could understand me, right? Now you come back to the house again, get asking for money for the same thing.
Over and over and over.
So all I ask you to come to the Belizean people and tell them, the money we Kuwait me promise we for the, I think it was 60 million, and the other ones them, and all that, I never get it. I never come with some kind of lie, please, right? So that we could give a little leeway again. So yeah, you might never get it the last time. So see, they in the budget now, right? So you're right, right? Come on, who does that? You did not mention anything about the $91 million for the state of the art hospital you talked about before this last election, right? You talked about that one lot, and all the baby you put this country through. to have to get that piece of land. We sucker the Belizean people again to get that piece of land, right? That that on say on built by the sewer plant in Belmopan, adjacent to the sewer. I'm a Belmopanese. I know where that place is, right? Been there several times. I cannot, you know, I go there because I've been there because I had us to go there, but another place that I want to go around because it stinks. Very, very stinks. And no make one wind the blow opposite direction. Get more stinker. Stink, stink, stink. And not to mention you set up your minions there to have a press conference, your bright mind. Oh yeah, well, is the sewer plant is good and I would swim in there. Right? It's not stink and it's all when people one of them say he would probably swim in there. Use the word swim. What's wrong with these clowns? Right? And these are the brightest mind they put up there to tell people crap. And we must sink it down. Right? But you mentioned, Mr. Man, on your budget there about but you didn't mention 91. I think you mentioned 9 million or 8 million to build a hospital. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. Right? But you mentioned something about in your budget about the state of the art hospital that's supposed to build in Belmopan, and you mentioned you need money for that. You never did mention the $91 million though, right? So you know, I mean, stop taking the taxpayers for fool, man, right? If you get money to do something, if you go to the house and ask for money to buy a CT scan or buy some medicine for the hospitals, all good and done. That's it's needed. The poor people need it, right? And I'm pretty sure you could show the receipt, right? As to how you spent the money, right? But that's what you need to do, man. Come clean, so people don't have questions, right? Because every budget read, people have questions, right? Because it's for the same thing. The $125 million that US dollars that Trump had promised, right? And they took it away, right? Because of your whatever, right? And he had his reason why he took it away. That's not Billy's money. So you shouldn't worry about that. You should be able to sustain this country with the taxation in this country. You should be able to do the right thing, right? You should be able to have that money for education, for energy, right? Because that's what that money to you say how many kids that you were going to give free internet to. That happened every year. Every year there's a budget, there's money for that and feeding program. I could tell you, Mr. Man, up here right now, Mr. Brisenio, Prime Minister of this country, you just read a budget and oh yeah, talk about so much for feeding program. And there are several schools, public schools here that the mothers have to pay $100 a month. $100 a month, Mr. Johnny Brisenio, Prime Minister of this country. You have to be ashamed of yourself when you mention about free feeding program for the schools. Watch what comes out of your damn mouth, because it's a damn lie. Parents, most parents here up in the West pays $100 a month. $25 they got to give to their kid. So that one kid earned $25 to get a little lunch at school.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell you talking about, Mr. Man? And people believe you. See, that's the damn thing. People believe the lies, right? And although they're suffering and things are so bad, and they still believe you. Why? What is wrong with that picture, man? Right? Where is the free education and the amount of damn money that the taxpayers give to you, your government? your education minister to do the right thing with it. But instead, what to do with it? Huh? What to do with it? And keep suckering the Belizean people. Keep suckering the poor people, the poor and less fortunate. Why? Because they don't. They take their kids to school and argue with the teacher when they this and then and that and no they come up with their last penny to make sure that the kids have a exercise book and have a toilet paper to take to the school, have disinfectant to take to the school, take cleaning product to take to they come up out their pockets, Mr. Man. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Huh? And then yet you're gonna say free? What the hell is wrong with you? But people encourage you. Past and present, the people encourages that. So I blame the people, right? And yet they go and make fundraiser for their loved ones, little kids about and about the country, fundraiser, be at the bumps, collecting shield $1.25, whatever they can collect to maintain. Travel around this country, you see people begging. And for what? Help someone that needs to go to school, or somebody needs to go to the hospital, or somebody that needs a specialized treatment and need a EKG or a CT scan, or come on. Aren't you ashamed? Yet you're gonna come up with all these bogus numbers in the house, right? That you're covering your people. We need the money, so because the people needs it. When you have people out there suffering, right? But who talks about these things? Right? People just take it and go to bed with it and get an ulcer, right? And then why I know why people are getting so sick in this country called Belize, because they go to bed with lots of problems, and they're afraid to speak out, because they're afraid of you, Mr. Briseño, and your government, for what you might do to them. Because if you pay for one kid to go to school, for them, they don't want to talk about it because you might yank that little $20 you're giving them, right? So that's why they're afraid. Or yank the little $20 bag of pantry, two damn ramen and a pound of sugar and a tin of milk and some salt and butter and some eggs. You will take that away from them if they speak out, right? Or the loved ones that you employ, you might fire them if they keep talking. If they say the wrong things, I mean not the wrong, say the bad things you're doing. They must always speak about good things you're doing. Past and present government. They speak out, next day they're sent home without even a paycheck, and you gotta fight to collect that little $30 that is owed to them. It's a damn shame. That's how you guys have this country. Past and present government, UDP and PUP. They victimize people, but the PUP does a very good job on that. Very better than the UDP. Better, they're much better. Right? I know for a fact because I've seen it and live it. Right? And if you want evidence, I could show you evidence. Anytime you want to. The way you behave. So sad. But, like I say, I call on I applaud Jules, Leonard, because sometimes he speaks real, and sometimes he speaks with passion, right? And he speaks truth, right? So, but the rest, whatever they're afraid for, right? They're just afraid to speak out and tell the people truth, and call yes, yes, and call no, no. and call bad bad and call good good. They're afraid of doing that. And I don't see nothing hard in saying the right thing and doing the right thing, right? But that's what we need more in this country. We need more Belizeans to
Speak
start
up.
speaking out. Amen. You know, what is so hard? What do you have to lose? You're already poor, dependent. What else could happen? Would come and put a gun to your head. That's how, right? And what I'm saying, right? Need to speak out, man, and stop the behind these worthless politicians, these crooks and these criminals repetitiously. They do on to the Belizean people and get away with it. Right off when the sun sets, rich, while you stay home, can't even buy a ramen in the next day. Right? And they ride off in the sunset. They come with zero. And when they leave for that 5 years, all their generation is pockets are full. Anyway,
Multi-millionaires.
anyway, I speak real and truth. Don't have to like what I say. It's your right to do that. But I also have my God-given rights too. Back to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to express my sense of gratitude to hear you expound your concern in such deliberate and passionate way, because I don't know, like our people are mesmerized, you know. They go through these cycles over and over and over again. And I don't know if they're really just glutton for punishment or it's just a mental thing. I don't know what it is, but it bugs me. It frustrates me to know that all people have so much common sense and they suborn their own common sense to the interest and well-being of people who have no regards or respect or consideration for them. Drop the turn around and use them as modern slaves. A lot of people in Belize are talking about, okay, well, we got to get rid of the colonial masters. We got to get rid of the people that kept us safe over all these years. The people that stopped the Guatemalans from being able to invade us. And we got to start hating those colonial minded and colonial masters and start loving our neighbors more than those neighbors love themselves or than those neighbors love us. They're our neighbors, but they are mortal enemies. They claim our lands and have been for decades trying to dispossess us of it. They claim that they were the one who gave us that country in exchange for us building a cart road for them. No, I don't know, understand how the kind of silly-minded people then think that they're talking to when they come up with any kind of back-a-tongue ideas or expressions. How come they would give us a whole country just in order for us to build a cart road for them? And we build them not only just a cart road. They built a four-way, a four-lane freeway from Guatemala to Melchor. And Belize built a two-way highway from Belize City all the way to Benke. And yet they're saying that the cart road hasn't been built. In other words, they are not able to do the commerce that cart road should have afforded them to do, when in fact, They have modern roads that are being built, which have allowed them to send in their population into our area of our country and outnumber us. So, for all intents and purposes, they have more control democratically by means of their population living in our area, having the opportunity to enjoy our patrimony as well as being able to vote and outvote us because they have 16 million people, we have 500,000. And we have some traitors, treacherous people in our country, some of them at the highest level of our governance system, telling us that we need to be more friendly and accommodating to the Guatemalans. Of course, they're saying that while the Guatemalans are aggressing our people on the Sarstoon, while they're aggressing us on the high seas, while they're aggressing us on the border, and even inside of our own border. Now, or Prime Minister and the foreign ministers have refused to tell us what's going on at the ICJ. They tell us they can't tell us because it's all on a secrecy act, while the Guatemalan newspaper can tell their people what's going on. But we have our jackals and cowards refusing to tell the Belizean people what's going on because they don't want us to rebel or they don't want us to throw a tantrum as people did during the 17 Webster proposals or during the heads of agreement in 81. They're selling cattle contraband to the Guatemalans them, and then the Prime Minister is going to turn around. He and Mr. Mai, the Prime Minister and Mr. Mai and all the other big cattle ranchers then are selling their product to Guatemala. Belize is getting no taxes, no custom duty being levied. And as a matter of fact, while at the same time they are getting a salary from the little money that is being put into the treasury, they're also fleecing that. They don't want to put in none of their own under legal taxation rules, but they want to take out as much as they can for themselves, their family members, and friends, while refusing to meet the government's obligation in paying its bills on a regular basis. And then the people just sit by and are apparently it's like they're in a trance. I don't know. It baffles me, like I said. It's like they're in a trance. Before the election, everybody was hyped up about party politics and who gonna vote for who and who gonna win and who gonna lose. And on election day, people collect them $50, then collect them couple beer, then collect them plate of food, and then dance to the drums and the music box them. Few months after now, that money, that $50 is gone. They're not getting any money. They're not getting any food. They're not getting any job. Huh? Everybody's going through hardships. Cost of living is going up every week. You go to the store. The same thing you bought last week costs you a few dollars more this week. And by the time 1 year is finished out of that 5-year term that they have, which is 52 weeks, your grocery bill gone up 52 times. And every time it goes up, it never come back down, or it will never ever come back down. But who cares? My caring about it doesn't solve the problem, so I might as well shut up. So I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The things you're so right,
Crazy,
Leonard.
man.
It's like
It's just
sad.
crazy.
The things that another thing that really bothers me. You know, you see how this this administration. You see how they reward their friends in one sitting. See how they treat Mr. Ashcroft
Mm-hmm.
with not hundred and thousand millions of dollars, taxpayers' dollars in one sitting,
Yes,
right?
sir.
We see how they do that, and another side of
But
it now. You see
and
how
they do that without blinking an eye, Mr.
yes,
Chairman.
yes. You see on another side of that how they treat the public servants, how they
Mm-hmm.
treat retirees, how they treat the nurses, teachers, the policemen, the BDF,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not talking about the higher echelon in these departments because they get rewarded handsomely. I'm talking about the men and women, the public servants, right? The retired policeman and the retired Belizean, BDF, the retired nurses, the teachers who educate our children, right? We see how they treat them. You see how when this PUP government came into power, he rewarded his CEOs on his first term,
Mm-hmm.
his friends, right? I don't think this, as for me, the name, I said it before, the name CEOs, they should abolish that. They should struck that out and get rid of these people. They're extra burden on the taxpayers, extra burden, right? And you see now with ease how they reward them again. And I say this to say, if all this is so nice and so beautifully painted, like what Briseño, because this is his birth name, Johnny Briseño, right? You see how Johnny Briseño reward his friends, right? Reward the people who serve him and his party, and the way he treats the public servants, right? The way he treats the workers, right? In terms of the baby he had for the measly $5 an hour minimum wage. See how long he took? So all I'm saying is that if they paint such a bright picture, do you think that the teachers should be striking? Do you think we should be having these kind of talks right now if everything was so nice? And why is it that if they have all this damn money, you hear and they talk about it again. The man Gianni Briseño, the prime minister of this country, talk about it in his budget. The amount of money from the Bolido. Why not pay the teachers, Mr. Man? Huh? Why not do the right thing? Why you have to cause this kind of problem in this country? Because you're causing it, you can stop it, right? You can make people. You talk about a healthy and happy country. What on the end you say? You quote a whole nonsense there about some person says about the best thing for a nation is a healthy nation and a happy nation and a happy people. You said it come from your venomous mouth. Are the teacher healthy and happy?
No,
Mr. Man, watch what you talk, man, or practice what you preach,
there's no NHI for the
right?
teachers.
See, but we're just trying to open up the people's mind, Leonard, because golly, some of us are so, clustered us on this partisan situation, this politics. These are either true BUP or either true UDP. No matter what they do to we, I either true. I would never call them out. But anyway, all I'm saying is that if all these things that this man paint publicly, not too long ago, a few days ago, was so nice and beautiful. The teachers are wrong, and the unions are wrong for doing what they're doing. They are so wrong. I'm just saying, if this man is painting such a beautiful, beautiful picture of Belize, and when the world listens to him, say, damn, but damn, all this is good and everybody happy and healthy and happy people. Why are these union going against the government? Why? The boss is saying everything is right and beautiful. So these people must be, something is wrong with them, for going on industrial strike. And sadly, while I'm on the unions, that name, that word union, I've always said you have a PUP union and you have a UDP union, just like you have UDP gangs and PUP gangs in
Mm-hmm.
Belize,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who don't believe me? Well, hey, tough luck, right? What I'm saying is that, you know, the unions have the power, Leonard, to bring this government, to do the right thing, to
Mr.
do the right thing.
Mr. Chairman, while it is true that they have the power and the rights to be able to do that, the Prime Minister is jumping one step ahead of them by instituting that SOE. That
There
is
you
the
go.
purpose for that SOE.
There you
Because
go.
they knew that the teachers were going to be on strike, and then not only the teachers but other civil servants and other people, and they don't want to find themselves in an awkward situation. So they are preempting that by putting out a little muscle out there, as a warning to the teachers that
And so
under
sad.
emergency rule,
Yeah,
they will not be tolerated.
yeah. And it's so sad. The same scenario had played out previously, year before, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before. But what happened? They hurdle the union leaders when it's a UDP in power. They hurdle them, take them into a little room, and give them offers. I'm talking about leaders, Leonard,
Yes, sir.
not the masses behind them, right? That's how it works,
Divide and conquer.
right? And if one give hard time when he get home, he they give a call. Mom, so and so, or man, where is a lady unionist, or I mean leader, or a man. I'm just saying, that this is the way they, because I know, hey man, make us settle this thing here, man. How much you want? Or what you want? How much land you want? Or how much money you want? Right? I may make you an offer, so the meeting, but I go the extra mile, right? So that's how they work, right? PUP, same thing, right? So the same things, Leonard, that they are striking for or talking about and have a bellyache for right now, it had happened last year and the year before and the year before, right? What you make out of that? What you
But that,
make out of that?
Mr. Chairman, can I make a prediction? I'm going to say that the teachers are asking for 8% approximately, plus or minus. By the time this matter is over with, it's going to be settled at 2.5 to 3%.
And they're gonna take it. See what they did with the stevedores?
Something better than nothing, but they're going to pressure them right down to the point of not.
The High Court, Leonard, we go way
Mhm.
back now.
Mhm.
Reward found Mr. Ashcroft guilty and reward, I think it was 7 point something million today. You see what those suckers did and negotiated with them with a measly, end up with a measly 2 point something or something like that
Yep.
million, right?
Yep.
Or not quote me with the
I
numbers,
think it
but
was, if I'm
right,
not mistaken, it was 1 point something. The
right,
last numbers I heard.
right.
I don't.
So it's a habitual practice, So who think I'm talking something stupid, right? Same thing, like you said, Leonard, is going to happen again, right?
Mhm.
So what they do now, they subject the nation to all this crap, and well, the media houses, like this kind of action, because get a little rating and talking to this union and unionist and that the other one and the other one, and they get little ratings, right? But they subject the nation to really not good, right, for the nation, right? But it's good for some people because that's where they get to go in these little rooms and negotiate and get a little something. If one never got 5 acres, they might get 10 acres and or help them get a loan or something, or give them something they get, because that's how they do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad to see how that works, and they subject the country to nonsense. And like I've said before, the union has the power to bring government to its knees, right? They have the power to do that. Having a SOE or not a SOE, they have the power to do that. Trust me, right? But it's just a game that they play, right? It's a game, and that need to stop, right? If you want your 8%, make sure you get your 8%. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure, because then next year it's gonna be the same crap, right? It's gonna be the same thing. So all I say, Mr. Unionist, march out there and you go negotiate. Man, not settle for where we the subscribe, where we say we gonna get a 2%, right? Not settle for that. Settle for your 8% or 9% that you want, right? Or maybe better yet, the same money, the same percentage that they gave their CEOs. Ask for that. Nothing wrong in asking for that. Do they deserve it? Hell no, they do not. So, stop playing games and putting the country through these kinds of shenanigans, right? That you're not serious about. My thing is, Leonard, is the seriousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the games need to stop. Need to stop, right? So, like I say, they are part of the problem, Leonard. They're part. They are part of the problem. Back to you. You have
Thank you very much, sir.
7 minutes there, Leonard. To five
Okay.
minutes.
Uh, I'll try and take me about four 4 minutes maybe. Um, Again, the Prime Minister is boasting about how good tourism has been. I don't know if you realize how fleeting tourism is. One little letter, one memo, one letter could stifle for the tourism industry. I don't know if he's aware of that, or the other ministers are aware of that. What is the backup plan if such a situation ever occur? Are they going to sit in a corner and cry? Where is the industrial base? Like you said earlier, Mr. Chairman, where are the factories that are being built so that our people can produce things to can or even just to put in bags and sell or send abroad? We could be selling, the Mennonites are more successful than any other city in Belize or town. Why? They mass produce and they sell abroad as well as locally. Where is the support for the local farmers so that they can sell their product abroad? We could be the breadbasket for the Caribbean islands who don't have a lot of lands. Where are the negotiations? Where is the government guidance, support? Not only just in farming, in many other aspects. We have done those things in the past successfully, but it hasn't continued successfully as of today yet. Why? The government is not doing its job, which is to facilitate that kind of development in the country. They're just happy with the lot of money that's coming in right now under tourism. Besides tourism, what other industry we have? The sugar. The poor cane farmers them are not getting their full amount of the money that's been paid for the sugar. And the prime minister went ahead and negotiate with ASR, BSI, and their owners in order to let them shaft and steal from the cane farmers. The cane farmers should be getting a little bit more of the money that is being paid for their product. They clear the land, they plant the product, they clean and fertilize the product, then cut the product, then deliver the product. When the money comes, they don't get their fair share. And that's good enough with the prime minister because why? He can always bring out the BDF or the police to stop the people from demonstrating as he did the last time. Go on bat on behalf of the companies them and forget about the people that elect him. And the very same people go and elect him again for another term, as if nothing happened. So then why are we wasting our time trying to talk about these issues when talking can't solve the problem if people aren't going to listen and react to what is being said? Are you back, sir?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And it's so true. I call on this guy, to do right by the education system, do right by our hospitals, do right by our public servants. What is so hard? They elect you, they gave you a mandate. Why don't you return back the favor in doing right by them? And as for our judiciary, they need to shape up, right? There's a lot of backdoor deals. There are lots of
Subordination.
shenanigans.
Subordination.
Yeah, lots of shenanigans in our justice system. Lots. Too numerous to talk about.
The judges are playing hanky panky with the
Right?
with the government so that they don't have to rule against the government,
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah.
so that they don't have to do their job
Yeah.
and expropriate the government and allow the government to continue violating the constitution.
Yes. Yes.
That's the kind of legal system we're ending up with now.
We see we see publicly, Leonard, that's been playing out with the Judge Honduras, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
get caught,
In his own words too,
in his
and on
own
tape,
words.
and on
And
tape.
I call on him, he has our case. He has, my case there. Why can't he give us? It's been over a month,
They're a bunch
and
of
it
rascals.
which he had promised that very same week after we sat, right? He promised that very same week.
But,
Over a
but,
month
but,
now.
but Mr. Chairman, sorry for
So
interjecting again. So Judge Honduras already showed what his intents were towards that case. He just as well said it on the tape that we all have heard. He called up Judge Neby and was conversing with Judge Neby about Judge Neby's ruling. Well, I would say bad ruling, and how she was able to make that bad ruling without addressing or dealing with the substantive matter of the case. He asked Judge Neby, did she just ignore the whole thing? Why is he going to get an open mic on tape and provide that kind of information for the public now, not only to be upset at his conduct, malicious judicious conduct, but he also implicates another judge who, although she was the first one that made the bad ruling and should have also suffered some consequences, no, because he's trying to hide behind her, he himself is caught up and he's bringing her along for the journey. Of course, all I say about that is karma. Okay? Because Judge Nabi thought she had gotten away with the bastardization of our constitution and the malicious ruling that she had made herself, and the disposition of a legitimate constitutional case that apparently may have been too big for her. But I refuse to believe that the case was too big for her, because the end of the way how she terminated that case was to serve an agenda, to serve an expectation on behalf of allowing the government to continue bastardizing the constitution by her giving the government an exculpation. She knew better. She is competent enough to know what she was doing. She was just being mischievous, just like Judge Ondura right now is being mischievous in regards to how he ruled with the UDP political issue, which he should not have entertained in the first place because the Constitution forbids him from being able to entertain any of those issues or delve into any of those issues, much less pronounce that the people constitutional power was not proper or adequate, or that he should be able to tell them that the decision that they made was invalid. What the hell is he going to step into a political party's constitution and tell the members of the highest body of that party, constitutional prerogatives, that he, the judge, has authority to rule that they can't exercise their own rights? When the Constitution says that he is not supposed to uh, enter into any of those kind of arenas or issues. If he knew his job from the very beginning, he would not have allowed the case to have been taken up, because there is what you call justicious matters and unjusticious matters, matters that are clearly in the competence and purview and rights of the court to entertain, and matters that the court should not touch or entertain. Yet, because of mischievous intent on behalf of the government, he gonna play hanky-panky and let these people have an election that was due be held without him having rule on that case. Dealing with the case for over, what, 5 months? A couple of months before, no, the case, the election was held in March, no March, yeah, March 13th, which for all intents and purposes like 2 months ago. And the case was brought to him in November. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May that we are today, middle of May. And the matter still has not been adjudicated yet in regards to you guys' case. Nothing that has any sense of urgency do they rule on, and have they ruled correctly on. In the last 7 cases that they have ruled on, 6 of those 7 cases have been bastardized outcomes, more legitimately classified as unconstitutional rulings. That is, that they did not rule according to law. But I won't go into that any much more for tonight, Mr. Chairman, because I'm hoping to be able to take up more of those matters more in detail on Friday on the legal and constitutional night. I yield back, sir.
Thank you. All I'm saying is that, justice delay is like justice deny. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to call on him to our medium, to do the right thing and give us, his intention, make it known to the public, right?
Uh,
And
Mr. Chairman, one more point before you close off the show, sir. Um, in regards to Justice Ondura, uh, he actually impeached himself as a judge, and as a result, he should be sanctioned, and he should not be allowed to make any ruling in any of these major substantive matters, especially in regards to the constitutional matters, to which he had already showed his predisposition to rule against the Constitution and to allow the government to continue unchecked and bastardizing the Constitution of our country. And therefore, uh, the fact that he has impeached himself, right, and he needs to depart from that particular seat of judgment or of judging, the problem is that if he leaves without giving a ruling, because he already heard the case, all he needed was to do was to give the clerks them the information long ago for them to have written up what they need to write out and give the decision. But he could have done that before he impeached himself, before he was caught on tape doing the dastardly things that he ended up doing. And then nobody would have had or been in the position at that time to question the legitimacy of his ruling. But now, if he rules, he's not going to rule for you guys. More likely than not, he's going to rule in favor of the government because he does not want to get into controversies with the government. He doesn't have the muster or the staying power to be able to rule against the people who have this contract over his head.
Thank
And
you.
since he has shown himself to be the kind of, dastardly person, I mean, he violates his own ethics, it's unlikely that he will do anything to worsen his situation.
Thank you.
I yield back,
On
sir.
that
Thank you
note,
very much.
like to say that, I don't really care how he rules. All we want is to have something official so that we know what other moves that we has to make, right? So that's all I say on that. And again, I want to give thanks to our medium again, to our team, the you know guys that steadfast, you know, um, as per our constitution, so that the government does the right thing for the people and nation. Again, I want to give a special thanks here to Ms. Sharon Pitts, attorney at law, who was the only attorney in Belize,
And
only
Isaac,
Belizean attorney that wanted to take up this cause, which is a just cause and a patriotic cause and a right cause, right? And for the people
uh,
and nation, the only attorney.
as
And
well as
again,
as well as Mr. Isaac Roberto
and Mr.
and Mr.
Right,
Irington, Mr.
yes, Hubert Arrington.
Hubert Irington.
Yeah, I want to give a special thank you, and a special thank you to Mr. Ram Logan, the
Right on.
Trinidadian attorney. He's a fighter for Belize,
Imagine
where
Mr. Chairman, imagine that none of our lawyers, except for the ones that we just called, among all the many others that we have, none of them step forward to be able to assist with that constitutional case. And it has to be a foreigner that came in to run to the rescue to render the
and
assistance
and not to mention, special thank you to Mr. Jeremy Enriquez,
as well.
who's a true patriot, and you know uh, holding steadfastly in what he believes in.
Uh,
Right? I
do you
want to
want,
I want to
Mr.
thank him.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to call the names of the individual? Are these for the records? Put
Yeah,
it on
for
the
the
record.
record,
Uh,
Mr.
all the other individuals that were
Mr. Paul
backing up.
Morgan, man, that guy is a true fighter for the people, right? Mr. Bobby Lopez,
Right
Hubert
on.
Enriquez,
Mm-hmm.
Will Mejia,
Mm-hmm.
Giovanni de la Fuente, right, and myself, right. Um, I want to special thank you to these guys, because you know they are the only true Belizean, true Belizeans that see that something is wrong. Something is wrong, and our nation and people have been taken advantage of. So
And
we
we're
step
and
up.
we're and we're willing to step to the plate and
We were willing,
expect
and
an
without the
extension effort.
taxpayers, for the nation and the world, without the taxpayers' dollars, Leonard, right?
Yes,
Not
sir.
a penny from the taxpayer purse, right? And you see what Johnny Briseño did. Who is going to pay for all this? You, the taxpayer, right? He's fighting the very same people that he swore to protect and serve. Fighting the
over
very same people that
over
he,
$100,000.
right? And he says he have to got the best attorney, the best learned attorney to fight because we are fighting him. So he has to get best representation in this country to fight him. And I call on it for last week. I call on the election and boundaries to please do the right thing, do right by the people, do right by the nation, right? Clean up your act,
They're all compromised.
right? Do the right thing. You're all dirty, very, very, very dirty. What for? What for? Think you're gonna, you know, live and die in that department? No. You gotta come among the very same people that you have deprived. Deprived. Gotta come back to them. But anyway, it's always a pleasure. And again, special thank you to my redistricting team. Thank you very much for, you know,
Thank you
and
too, Mr. Chairman,
and
for
again,
your involvement in the process
thank you.
and being willing to head the process and taking all the crap that they were dishing out to you personally while you was trying to look after the constitution and the people and country.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
being such a patriot and on behalf of our patrimony. God bless you
Thank
and
you,
the rest of
sir.
your family.
Thank
And
you.
God bless
And
Belizeans at home and abroad.
thanks to all those who have tuned in to us tonight and or favorite viewers who view us and watch us. Thank you very much for that support. Thank you. May God bless you. And may God bless Belize. And tune in to us on Friday, where Leonard will share his constitutional and legal matters.
I can just say as a prelude to Friday, come with fire extinguishers because there will be fire and brimstone on Friday. That's all I could promise for right now.
Like again, I say this. I don't care how Mister Honduras rules, right? I don't care. Just let it be public. We are waiting too long. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Say
Chairman.
good
And
night.
that's the end of tonight's show until Friday. Thank you, Belizeans at home and abroad.